Hi fellas, my name is Sky, and today you're going to watch me make a rainbow rave custom Coraline doll. I mean, we're talking rainbow fishnets, cool split dye hair, rainbow fur slides, rainbow angel wings, and rainbow makeup with rhinestones. Speaking of which, let's start with that. Full disclosure, my first attempt was a bummer. I ran out of my Superior matte varnish and substituted for one that I found at Home Depot. That was a mistake, so I ended up doing the face twice, this time sealing it with MSC. As I said before, our Manic Rainbow Dream Girl is wearing colorful, sparkly festival makeup. First, I apply rainbow pigments as thickly as possible for her blush. Then I map out her lip shape with a red colored pencil. To fill in the lipstick, I'm using a deep red acrylic paint and applying it with a sponge eyeliner applicator. Life hack, you're welcome. And you can't forget those eyebrows. I applied some truly stupendous eyelashes off camera, and now I'm moving on to the piercings. I recently went to the dollar store and I picked up some truly tiny nail decorations. I see getting so much use out of these micro silver balls. Don't they look exactly like tiny piercings? Moving on, I now apply some sparkly bits to the face to mimic the pattern of gemstones in Kendra's makeup look. My habit of collecting tiny little sparkly things has paid off. Now I just gloss her lips, insert her eyes, and her face is done. Definitely better than my first try. Now we're gonna backtrack just a little bit because I did the hair after my first face attempt. After rooting some brown yarn into the head to resemble roots in a scalp, I used brushed and flat ironed yarn bundles to make pigtails, which I then glued and stabbed into the head with shortened pins. Morbid, but sturdy. I combined some brushed and rooted strands of the colored yarn with the ponytail bundle by tying one more piece of yarn around them. This makes the blend from brown to color more cohesive. Now I gotta put the head aside and start working on the body. Guess who has tattoos? It's Kendra. I drew up her tattoos in Procreate using the photo references that were sent to me. I printed them and cut them out and glued them to the body. Now she tatted up. So that was horrifying, and for that I apologize. Now we gotta work on the clothes. Let's start with the shoes. I prepped a bunch of brushed and straightened yarn wefts to create faux fur on the rainbow slides. I glued it on the foot, layer by layer, simultaneously showing off my lack of camera skills. Multitasking. When that was done, I glued the feet to the shoe bases I prepped off camera. Next, we moved to that rainbow fishnet action. I don't have rainbow fishnet, and even if I did, the pattern would likely not be visible on such a small scale, so I gotta make my own. I just add the rainbow onto a scrap of white lace using watered down paint. Once it dries, I cut out my pattern pieces for Kendra's long sleeve fishnet top. Before I attach the fishnet, I need to sew this black bralette I made onto the doll. I decided to glue the fabric directly to the doll's body rather than sew it to minimize bulk. I gotta admit, I repainted and reattached the lace a few times before getting it right. This isn't even my final version. But onto the skirt. Watching me make this would be boring, so I'm just showing attaching the clasp and putting it on. Now, this was one of my favorite parts, making those lovely rainbow angel wings. I carefully used a crafting knife to cut the shape out of this material. It's a thick but very light plastic material that I harvested from the dumpster. Don't be weird, I always thoroughly wash my dumpster finds. Anyway, once I'm done cutting that out, I sand it a lot to make sure all those edges are super smooth. The dumpster plastic responded very well to sanding. Now I gotta add magnets. And I didn't like the idea of shoulder straps adding more bulk, so I figured that magnets would be an elegant solution. And this way the wings are removable, kind of like an extra accessory. These magnets were surprisingly really strong, so I had to use clothespins to hold them in place while they were drying so that the magnets wouldn't snap together. I let the glue dry for 24 hours, then painted one side of the wings red, the side facing the doll's back. Kendra's full-size wings are made with feathers, but I find that brushed out yarn wefts makes a really good miniature alternative. I started by adding the bluish purple feathers to the outer edge of the wings. I applied these in a super clumsy and messy way, but I got the hang of it as I worked my way up the wings. And luckily, the hot glue mess was fully covered by the end. When I ended up getting to the top row, I glued the feathers in the opposite direction and then ended up folding them back on themselves, if that makes sense. This way the gluey edge wouldn't be visible and it would look a lot more seamless. I also used my wood burner on the lowest possible setting to lay all of these messy fibers flat. With the wings completed, I have a little bit of doll assembly to do, but let's speed it up. And here's our rainbow rave babe. That was hard to say and didn't sound like English. I think she turned out so cute. I hope you do too, and thank you guys for watching. Also, hey Kendra, shout out to you, babe.